get this flying microphone here.
Yeah.
Let's start out with a question. When you hear the word oneness, what image or word comes to your mind? Oneness. Anybody? Unity.
Connected.
Connected.
Team.
Team.
Non-duality.
Non-duality.
Kindred spirit.
Kindred spirit.
Whole.
Whole. Great. Well, all these images and words you've shared connect with Jesus's gospel message today of oneness. Over the next few minutes, we will explore together what oneness means in our own lives and the challenges it offers. I'd like to begin by speaking about a Celtic symbol, eternal interlace, which is interlocking and connecting. This symbol is on one of my favorite plaques in the living space of our home, which reads, "Family forever, never apart. Maybe in distance, never in heart." It reminds me that no matter where the people we love are, we are always connected. Our hearts are one. And there's an eternal thread that is forever present. When we talk about the oneness Jesus calls us to live, I think it's important to keep two things in mind. First is that love is at the heart of oneness and unity. Jesus spoke of the love God had for him, and he prays that same love will live in all of us. Love is foundational to oneness. The second is that oneness and unity do not mean sameness and uniformity. Rather, this is a call to appreciate diversity and come to a deeper understanding of one another, of nature, and of communities. As we know, this is not easy and can be a real challenge at times. Yet when we appreciate and understand, our diverse hearts can connect and be one. Let's now consider some practical illustrations. Recently, we moved to a new home in Middletown Township, and we back up to the Middletown open space in Delaware County. Here, a multitude of trees and a pond host birds of all varieties, cicadas and frogs. These creatures grace us with their extraordinary rendering of their unique songs. The tweets and chirps of the birds, the high volume song of the cicadas, and the bass voice of those singing bullfrogs. It is truly an auditory delight that is diverse in its sound and its intensity. Every morning and evening, as I sit on the deck, slow down, and listen to their open air concert, I experience a oneness with them that embodies love. My love for who they are and their gift of love they so willingly share. Nature provides many different kinds of opportunities for oneness, some reflective as this was, others wild and exciting, and yet others are journeys into remoteness and the unknown. This diversity of nature draws us to live Steve Garnaas-Holmes' words in the second reading. Look for life and honor it everywhere. Let's each ask ourselves what part of nature we long to be one with. Another example of oneness is an experience Edwina Gately shared in her book, Christ in the Margins. Edwina was ministering to women in prostitution on the streets of Chicago, and one evening went into a tavern in a dark alley. A woman in her mid-50s came in and sat next to her at the bar and ordered a jug of wine. She asked Edwina if she was hungry, to which Edwina replied, "Yes, a little." The woman was delighted. She said she hadn't eaten in 3 days, had stolen a loaf of bread from a supermarket, and was looking for someone to share it with. So she poured Edwina a glass of wine, put some tuna from her bag on the bread, and together they shared a meal. While eating, the woman asked Edwina who she was, and Edwina replied, "I'm a Christian, an independent Catholic minister." Shocked, the woman blurted out, "This ain't no place for a Christian or minister. You don't belong here." She then began to weep and told Edwina her life story. She explained that she had endured years of incest and rape as a child, ran away from home as a teenager, was picked up by a pimp on the streets, and began a life of prostitution. Edwina held the sobbing woman in her arms, and together they both wept. As Edwina Gately walked home, she reflected on what just had happened and how in the midst of vulnerability and brokenness, she had a powerful experience of God. In an ordinary place, a bar, the woman had shared with her the bread, the fish, and the wine, and then poured out her life story. In Edwina's words, in that place, the Holy Spirit, wisdom, was roaming free. This was a mystical experience, an experience of oneness of God. Although Edwina Gately and this woman were of very different backgrounds and lifestyles, when they lived the love Jesus spoke of in today's gospel, they found oneness. This demonstrates how God is present in surprising and unlikely places and longs to be with us in the darkest and most vulnerable moments of our lives. Perhaps each of us can reflect on when we have been surprised by God's presence, whether in our family, our neighborhood, our place of work, or ministry. How did that surprise of oneness feel? And how was love in that moment? As I look around on Zoom and here in the chapel, I am reminded of the oneness we share in our Mary Magdalene community as we gather each Sunday. It is a connection with people all over the United States, the UK, Europe, and the Philippines. A oneness of heart as we share during homily response, place our intentions in the circle of prayer, and break bread together. This week, especially, our faith community is one in heart with the families in Uvalde, Texas. Our hearts are joined to theirs as they deal with the tragic loss of their beloved children and teachers. Whether we are prayerfully holding one another, reaching out by phone or email, donating supplies to the people of Chester or Ukraine, contributing to our many charities, or connecting with Ann Kelly and her ministry in Liberia. Love is embodied here, drawing us into the oneness Jesus desires for us. I think of how life-giving times of oneness are, whether in nature, in moments of sorrow or surprise, in community gatherings, and in a myriad of other experiences. I encourage you to reflect on how oneness has touched you recently. Draw deeply from that grace of oneness and be aware of the love that beckons you into that moment. As the Celtic symbol of eternal interlace reminds us, may we be forever one in love, wherever we are.